legislature, which was to increase our fees to increase of $25. It passed the House, it went to the Senate committee. The Senate committee took a hard look at it and decided that we only needed a $10 raise. So they reduced it from $25 to $10. Then it was sent to the Finance Committee yesterday. Revenue Committee. We were in the Senate all afternoon yesterday. They happened to meet on Sunday. I guess they had fried chicken or something over there. I don't know why they met on Sunday, but they did. So anyway, we got to go on Sunday, and the committee went over the bill again, and as it had been amended by the former committee and approved it, it will go now to the Senate to be approved. It will have to go back to the House because there was an amendment from the House as they passed it. It will have to go back and be passed again by the House. If it is passed with the amendment, then it will go to the governor for a signature. And so that would be fine if it just goes through the last steps like that. We would receive a $10 increase, and I think that will certainly help us for a while. And we had considerable help, very nice people helping us with the bill, and I'm just happy to be able to report to the board that there is a possibility of at least a $10 increase, which is certainly better than nothing.
Hello, neighbor. I'm Robert Burns, and welcome to another edition of Sound Off Louisiana. Today is Monday, June the 2nd, 2025. We have just completed a meeting of the State Board of Cosmetology. Reverend Freddie Phillips was in attendance, and Reverend Phillips, I'm going to let you take it over as to what you got told at the end of this meeting. Take it over.
Good morning, Sound Off, and I just want to let you know that I did appear before the Cosmetology Board requesting information concerning the construction costs and the things that they said this building would need in order to be repaired. I was not given any information. In fact, the board members themselves act like that they did not know anything about it. But yet, on both sides, the House and on the Senate side, they were issued documents that stated this was the repair cost, $750,000 here. And
that was for technology.
For technology, and over $1 million, I think, for repairs. So they've given these exaggerated construction rates, and we haven't seen any documentation to warrant it. I just want to say that I was told that I would get the information that I requested, but I can tell you right now, it seemed to be a snowstorm in the summer. And right now, I'm very stunned that the board has no knowledge of it, and I have no documentation of what they submitted to the board.
Right. The shocking thing is that the entire board, with the exception, I would assume, Jennifer Reed knew because she's been at the hearings, but they had no idea, literally no idea what you were talking about. So apparently this is being played very close to the vest, and it's now unquestioned that whatever estimates were supplied to these senators was not supplied by the board.
Well, we could say that that's probably the case, but we could also say that the board had no knowledge of it.
The board itself, correct.
Correct. But the Senate had received information. So where did that information come from? We know that a school gave us privileged information outside of that particular House chamber and told us that this was the cost of the roof. Well, it's not a metal, it's not a tar roof, and with a little cosmetic repair and priming, it doesn't cost $56,000.
Okay, and you have way more knowledge on that sort of thing than I do.
Yes, sir, I do. I have a lot of knowledge when it comes down to construction and construction repair. So I can look at the building and determine that what they suggested was nowhere near what is needed. And somebody's cooking the books in this particular episode.
Very good. And like I said, I believe the most shocking revelation is that none of the board members were aware of the fact that these figures had even been submitted. I did volunteer to them that it may help to look at Sound Off Louisiana features. If they had, none of this would have come as a shock to them because it was very apparent they were all shocked. It makes me openly question just how much communication there is with their own board members. That absolutely floored me.
Yes, and it also stunned me, and I was flabbergasted because they act like I had just dropped a bomb out of Hiroshima.
Exactly.
You know, everybody's surprised. What is you talking about? Well, the board should have informed you all that they was supposedly or alleged submitted documentation on costs of repairs and computerized upgrades, which I believe that the board had someone else to do it, or they did not take credit for doing it. But however be, the documentation was submitted to the Senate, and the Senate used those documentation to give that board a $10 raise.
Well, and from my vantage point, I mean, as you know, Senator Mizell asked you to make public records requests. We now know that we have struck out. Y'all bear with me for just a second as this 18-wheeler goes by. Senator Mizell, as I was saying, asked you to make public records requests. You did that, and yet this board says, although they have yet to put it in writing, although Ms. Morris committed that she would, we have no documents responsive to your request, which means that the documents that the senators looked at did not originate from the board. And I personally have a real problem with licensees of a board going out and doing the work for them and submitting it. And there's pretty strong evidence that that is exactly what transpired in this instance. So,
well,
Reverend...
I also talked to Ms. Morris after the meeting and asked her what time frame would it be before she responds to me. She told me she would get back to me this afternoon when she gets to her office. So I'm looking forward to those documentation or anything that she may say that would validate where did the information come from. Because the next thing I'm going to ask Senator Mizell and Senator Jenkins is, how did y'all obtain this information and who supplied it?
Exactly.
Because
I think that's a very fair question.
I know that the board had to hand it to them, or someone from the board had to send it.
Well, Mr. Young stated it may have very well come from the bill's sponsor, that being Representative Butler. So if Representative Butler wants to step up and take credit for submitting that documentation, we will certainly let her do that. I will say that Rep. Butler has exaggerated a number of things, as you made note of.
Correct.
On the last one, the $35,000 to $40,000 cost of tuition, when a school owner had to say, no, it's really more like 15 to 20. Also, the number of years it's been since a fee increase, she said 41, it was really 29.
Yes.
So we may have a continuing pattern of inflated figures. I'm not saying that, although Reverend Phillips feels pretty strongly that they are inflated, but I haven't seen anything.
And neither have I, and that's the problem. The Senate gave them a pass to go and do what they did without giving them information to validate what they were doing.
Very good. Well, this was Reverend Phillips's first meeting of the Cosmetology Board, and you can speak for yourself, but I got a feeling it's probably not your last.
It's not going to be my last.
Very good.
I'm very concerned about how this board is run, and I'll take the advice of what the board should have done. It's got a, Isaiah told him to get a legislative audit,
a performance audit. Right.
Yes, and so that they can see how they're doing.
And Representative Butler committed that that would be done.
Exactly.
So we're going to look for that.
Yes, so we're sounding off again, and I thank Robert Burns for bringing me up to speed, because I watch the sound off features and I'm able to see what's going on across.
That's why we do sound off. So, and I know the braiding situation, and we won't get off on that because that's going to transpire presumably on Wednesday. Very briefly, we'll say that the board said that, and we'll provide the little clip for that. Ms. Morris said that the bill sponsor, that would be Ms. Morris, did not amend the bill in a manner in which the board was pleased with.
Correct.
For several bills relative to alternative hair design or braiding, and those have not moved from the House to the Senate yet, so they haven't been scheduled. They were amended, I guess, from the last meeting. They were amended, but you might recall Representative Moore came and we discussed amendments. They were not amended in the fashion that the board recommended. Okay.
So,
Representative Moore, that's what she said.
right. Now, it's obviously they're very up to speed on the braiding bill. I find it a little shocking that they had no knowledge whatsoever of all of this documentation presented to the senators. That is mind-boggling to me. Thank you so much for your dedication, and we look forward to bringing you another Sound Off Louisiana feature in the very near future. Thank you so much.